Welcome back to WION World is One. Thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Hem Kaur Saroya, and here's what we have lined up for you on Speed News today. Escalated fighting in Gaza during the last 24 hours saw some of the heaviest bombardment. Hamas is still able to launch rockets towards Israel. The escalation is taking place while efforts towards a renewed ceasefire deal are underway. Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh was in Egypt for a second day of negotiations on Thursday. However, Hamas and other Palestinian factions have taken a stand that another hostage and prisoner exchange will take place only when fighting stops in Gaza. Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen confirmed that negotiations on hostage release were ongoing but declined to provide details. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has once again said that Israel will fight till victory. A delegation of top US officials is expected to visit Mexico soon as negotiations over how to enforce immigration rules at the two countries' shared border continue on Capitol Hill. The visit comes amid controversy over the closure of two rail crossings in Texas earlier this week. A US official said that the trip, if finalized, will take place on the 23rd of December. Republican and Democratic lawmakers are debating border policy changes as part of a larger conversation over US assistance to Ukraine and Israel. US officials said the personnel needed to be redeployed for handling the high number of migrants illegally crossing the border. Three police officers have been acquitted in the killing of an unarmed black man whose dying pleas for air sparked protests in 2020. Officers Christopher Burbank and Matthew Collins were found not guilty of murder and manslaughter charges, while a third officer, Timothy, was found not guilty of manslaughter following a trial that lasted more than 2 months. According to witness testimony, the officers punched 33-year-old Manuel Ellis, put him in a chokehold, and shot him with a stun gun on the 3rd of March 2020. Lawyers for the officers have said that the police stopped Ellis because he was approaching a car turning at an intersection, while a witness said she saw Ellis just standing at the intersection when police called him over to their car. A gunman killed at least 14 and injured at 25 at a university in Prague, in what is being seen as the deadliest attack in modern Czech history. The 24-year-old gunman was eliminated following the shooting at Prague's Charles University. The shooting occurred at the university's Faculty of Arts building. The government has declared a day of mourning on the 23rd of December in memory of the victims. Police have also discovered a large arsenal of weapons at the downtown Prague Charles University building, where the shooting took place. Shortly after that, the shooter's father was found dead and the shooter himself. Four soldiers of the Indian Army were killed in action, while 3 others sustained close to fatal injuries after terrorists ambushed 2 army vehicles in the Poonch region of Jammu and Kashmir on Thursday. The bodies of the 2 soldiers were mutilated by their killers. The encounter in the area is still underway. The Indian Army has been conducting an operation in and around the area since Wednesday night. Vehicles that were carrying soldiers to the site of an overnight cordon and search operation came under attack during late afternoon on Thursday. As per the army, the soldiers and terrorists got into a gunfight after the ambush. Thailand is edging closer to legalizing same-sex marriage. Lawmakers have overwhelmingly passed 4 draft bills on same-sex marriage in their first reading. If enacted, Thailand would become the first country in Southeast Asia to recognize same-sex marriage. The draft legislation has received overwhelming support in the parliament, with over 360 votes in favor and only 10 against it. The legislation aims to amend the marriage law to use gender-neutral terms. This will allow Thais to marry without restrictions on sex or gender. The change will also grant adoption and inheritance rights to couples. Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin has welcomed the vote by saying, and I'm quoting here, "We are finally on the road to bridging the gap to equal rights for all." Top US military officer General Charles Brown spoke with China's General Liu Zhenli after more than year-long halt to high-level defense talks between the two countries. China stopped the talks in late 2022 to express its displeasure over a visit by then US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan. Leaders of the two countries had agreed to resume them when they met last month. Brown, the chairman of the US Joint Chiefs of Staff, discussed the importance of working together to responsibly manage competition. Spokesman Captain Juriel Dorsey added Brown also discussed the need to avoid miscalculations and maintain open and direct lines of communication. Beijing reacted furiously to Pelosi's August 2022 visit to Taiwan. A Hong Kong court has rejected a bid by the legal team for pro-democracy tycoon Jimmy Lai to have sedition charge against him dropped. Lai, who is the founder of now shuttered pro-democracy newspaper Apple Daily, was charged with conspiracy to publish seditious publications under a colonial-era sedition law. Lai also faces 2 charges under a China-imposed national security law of conspiring to collude with foreign forces, which could see him jailed for life. Lai has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Canada's federal government will give more than $354 million to Toronto to help it build more housing and alleviate a shelter crisis. Prime Minister Trudeau has said the money would allow Toronto to fast-track nearly 12,000 new housing units over the next 3 years. The money will come from a special fund which pays cities that agree to loosen zoning rules. As part of a deal with the federal government, Toronto will work to expand affordable renting programs, cut red tape, and unlock non-market housing. The Liberal government has made a series of similar announcements across the country in recent weeks. A missing Indian student's body has been recovered from a lake in the Canary Wharf area of East London. The UK Met Police is yet to find out about the last whereabouts of 23-year-old Gurashman Singh Bhatia. Bhatia was reported missing on the 14th of December after a night out with his friends. The police had earlier issued requests to people in the Marshwall area to help them trace Bhatia's movements before his disappearance. In efforts to piece together his disappearance, the police is still sifting through the CCTV footage of the area. As per the police, the formal identification of the body is not over yet. However, the family of the student has been informed. The ongoing fighting between Sudan's military and the paramilitary group Rapid Support Forces has forced up to 300,000 people to flee their homes in a province that had been a safe haven for displaced families in the war-torn country. It is the Al Jazeera province known as Sudan's breadbasket. It was home to 6 million people. Since the war, about 500,000 displaced fled to the province for safety. But now the fighting has spread to this province as well. Earlier this month, the Rapid Support Forces attacked the city of Wad Madani in the province. The RSF said it took over the province earlier this week, and military said that its troops withdrew from the city. The army launched an investigation to examine the circumstances surrounding the withdrawal. Rudy Giuliani has filed for bankruptcy. Just days after being ordered to pay $148 million in damages for defaming two Georgia poll workers, Giuliani, who is known as America's mayor for his leadership of New York after the September 11, 2001 attacks, faces a crush of death stemming from his work as a lawyer on Trump's behalf. He also faces criminal charges in Georgia. Giuliani listed assets of between $1 million and $10 million and liabilities of between $100 million and $500 million. A spokesperson for Giuliani, who no longer works as Trump's lawyer, said the bankruptcy filing will give him time to appeal the $148 million penalty. The spokesperson added that the filing would ensure that other creditors are treated fairly. The French President Emmanuel Macron has been invited to be the chief guest at India's Republic Day Parade on the 26th of January 2024. The invite reaffirms the India-France strategic partnership, which completes 25 years this year. In July this year, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the chief guest at France's Bastille Day. India's recent invite is the 6th time a French president will be present at the momentous celebrations. The last time a French president was asked to preside the parade was in 2016 during the term of then-President François Hollande. The Republic Day Parade that will be held at the Kartavya Path in the national capital, New Delhi, will witness various momentous events. The Norwegian cruise ship MS Maud has suffered a power outage after a rogue wave shattered windows on the bridge while it sailed in the North Sea. As a result, the vessel has lost its ability to navigate. According to Danish Joint Rescue Coordination Center, the 266 passengers and the 131 crew members are safe, and the situation is under control. The ship, which belongs to cruise company named HX, a unit of Norway's group, was sailing from Norway to the UK. While sailing roughly 200 kilometers off Denmark's coast, strong winds blasted windows of the bridge of the vessel, allowing water to enter, which resulted in a power failure. The ship is currently being steered manually from the engine room but cannot navigate. Heavy rain and flooding has led to temporary road closures in the Californian coastal city of Santa Barbara. Video that has been making rounds on social media shows roads flooded with rainwater and cars struggling to pass through the city because of the elevated water levels. According to officials, evacuations are underway due to flooding in the port. Apple customer service teams are informed in a company memo this week that it will no longer replace out-of-warranty models going back to Apple Watch Series 6. If a customer has broken a screen, for instance, they would not be able to get the issue fixed by Apple. A Bloomberg report claims that the company will still offer help that can be done via software, such as reinstalling the operating system. Company representatives were told to inform affected customers that they will be contacted when hardware replacements are allowed again. Nike trimmed its annual sales forecast, blaming cautious consumer spending. A weaker online business and more promotions, and said that it plans to cut supplies of key product lines to manage costs, sending its shares down over 10%. The company said it was seeking $2 billion in savings over the next 3 years through steps including tightening the supply of some products, improving its supply chain, reducing management layers, and increasing the use of automation. Nike's wholesale business has been under persistent pressure as retailers place fewer orders amid choppy demand. The US Department of Commerce said it will launch a survey of the US semiconductor supply chain and national defense industrial base to address national security concerns from Chinese-sourced chips. The survey aims to identify how US companies are sourcing so-called legacy chips as the department moves to award nearly $40 billion in subsidies for semiconductor chips manufacturing. The department said the survey, which will begin in January, aims to reduce national security risks posed by China and will focus on the use of sourcing of Chinese-manufactured legacy chips in the supply chains of critical US industries.